All right. Street Fighter. Let's do it. We did Combat last week, right? Mortal Kombat. We're back again. The D-pad, Daniel Ehrenberg, and who are you?
I guess I'm the H-box.
Sure, why not? The H-box.
Yeah, this wasn't my game, man. This wasn't my game.
This was mine, but I turned on it. Here's the thing. FYI, shout out to Josh Lemur, one of the best listeners of the show. Top 3, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
And the other 2 know who they are. One of them's Olivia, and the other one knows who they are.
Yeah, the other one. Let's not get any more narrow. Yeah. Just leave at least one slot open.
All right. I was into these games as a kid because I preferred cartoonier games.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mortal Kombat didn't appeal to me. It had blood. I was a little bit of a prudish kid. And, yeah, that all went out the window pretty fast.
Yeah.
But I loved Street Fighter. It was fun. They threw little energy balls at each other. There was a lot of jumping real high in the air.
Yeah.
And it was more of a button masher. I feel like Mortal Kombat, you really had to learn the moves, whereas in Street Fighter, if you just like fucked around with the buttons, you might be able to win.
I think that for me, in terms of, I don't know the similarities of the game, but I think this movie, and when I was reading about the game, yes, I did read about the game, because I have played it. I also just didn't have Nintendo, so I believe when this came out,
I didn't have it on Nintendo. I had a Genesis version, I think.
Did they have a Genesis version?
I'm pretty sure. I don't think this was Capcom. It wasn't Nintendo.
No, I know, but I always recalled it being a Nintendo. I don't know.
I'm almost certain. If I didn't have it for Genesis, then I had it for PlayStation 1. Yeah, well, and I had like a bunch of different versions, because remember, like, they didn't really number them. It was always Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
But then it would be like Street Fighter EX Turbo Alpha Edition.
Yeah. And I mean, I think when I played this, I was at like an arcade. I definitely played this in the arcade, much like the game I was about to mention. And this is the game that I just kept thinking of, was Double Dragon. That was a huge favorite of mine in the arcade. I used to have it at this convenience store I went to all the time when I was a kid, and I played it endlessly.
I loved Double Dragon. I had Battletoads versus Double Dragon for my Sega Genesis. I had a lot of versus games. RoboCop Terminator. Battletoads Double Dragon. I wasn't content. See, video games were expensive. If I wanted a video game, my mom was like, I'm going to spend this much on a video game. I'm going to get you 2 mashed together.
Yeah, right. Marvel versus Capcom. You reminded me of that last week, and
I had X-Men versus Street Fighter for PlayStation 1. My go-to player was Cyclops because he could do a real big optic blast very cheap.
Oh, very cheap. Yeah, but he must have been limited in how many times he could do it.
Yeah, but it not really. And it was like, because it's long-term attack, you could just like hang out on the other side of the fucking screen.
I would hate to play you in these games.
Oh, I'm a misery. No one wants to play video games with me. It's only fun for me.
Calm down. No way, man. I'm hanging up here on this brick wall. You got to come to me.
Yeah, that's me, man. I'll just jump over and over again for an entire match. Try and catch me in the air, motherfucker.
One of these days, we're gonna have to match up Soul Calibur. You don't really know that game.
I know it a little, but you know what we should do? Twitch.
You can play like over the internet.
We could play each other video games, I think, and like narrate it. I think that's a thing. Wow. Hey, somebody who knows anything about video games, slide into my emails and let me know what it is.
Okay.
What Twitch is.
What is Twitch?
Yeah. And do you think it's something Henry and I could figure out?
Yeah, right. That's key. That would be very fucking fun, though. I would totally do that. I have a question. Ever since our great friend Olivia set up our website, thefranchisepod.wixsite.com/podcast.
That was off the dome, Olivia. I wouldn't have been able to do that.
Pretty good. I was pretty impressed with it. she has taken to sort of what I always thought we should do, but I was outvoted 1-1. But she's counting the episodes as the website counts them, so we're at like 242 now. What are we going to do? We're going to continue our time-honored tradition of just not counting.
Olivia's not changing this fucking show. I don't care how much juice she brings to that website. We don't count the bonus episodes.
All right, I kind of will go with Olivia here, but it's all right. So, if you're on the website, you'll be confused, but we're calling this episode 223.
Doesn't that sound great?
Yeah, it sounds fucking fantastic. Then now people will go to the website, look for episode 223, and it won't match up.
Or whatever. Listen, you brought up Double Dragon before, and I think it's a good point. Because I thought a lot about Street Fighter during this movie, and as you do when you're watching a Street Fighter movie.
Yeah. Right.
And I noticed there's a lot of fighting, Henry.
Mm-hmm.
No streets.
Fantastic point.
There's not a single fucking street in any of these movies.
Yeah, I mean, in the second one, we are in streets at a certain point, but not many fights in streets.
Tell me there's a movie called Street Fighter. What I want to see is like two guys throwing down in the street.
Yeah.
And that's what and I understand that's not what Street Fighter is really, but that is what Double Dragon is.
That is totally what it is. You just walk through like alleyways the entire fucking game.
Yeah, just like fighting gang members with names like Skull and
that's right.
and Razor.
It's just like not Street Fighter, but more like I'm a street fighter. Like I'm a brawler.
But I mean, how many of the dudes in this movie are really brawlers? There's a boxer, there's a sumo wrestler, there's two karate guys, there's a green guy, there's a monster.
He's right behind right now. He's right behind Dan in the middle there.
Yep, there's a fascist dictator.
Yes.
He's not a street fighter, I wouldn't say. Then there is a fascist military leader.
Correct.
Who cannot follow the rules.
No.
He's a rebel, this guy. I gotta tell you, I don't think he followed a single rule this entire movie.
Who are you talking about?
Colonel Guile.
We'll get to him. Yeah.
Not in the second movie. I couldn't believe the lack of Colonel Guile.
Totally fine with that. We did do something at Dan's request. I'm sure you guys will like it. It turned out to be rather a disappointment for me, but something that really did explain something for myself. So we ranked JCVD movies.
Now, JCVD is, of course, the initials of Mr. Jean-Claude Van Damme. We have covered him once on the show in his background extra role in Breakin'.
That is correct. It is on my list.
I remember him wearing a tank top and cheering on the dancers.
Vaguely. Yeah. Yeah.
And, he is a Belgian idiot, and he's an addict, and he takes advantage of people. I don't know if he ever got sober. He never really got it together. He's still kind of a nut job. But I will say, of the action talent, Henry, of the big action guys, and I'm leaving Stallone out. He's a little different because he kind of fancies himself an artist.
Yeah, he sure does. But I'd still consider him an actor. But yeah, I get what you mean. Go ahead.
But in this period of the late 80s, early 90s, I think he was the most consistent in terms of good movies. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme is this wooden nightmare of a person. Like, he's charismatic, but he cannot act like remotely at all. Like you watch like a Schwarzenegger movie after a Van Damme movie, and you're like, wow, what depth?
Yeah, totally. Completely. And I actually, the reason I was just going to quickly disagree, I think Schwarzenegger beats him in those decades for more consistently good movies.
Yeah, I know, but you're right. But he also had way bigger budgets and way bigger directors making the movies.
I just seem to remember what dawned on me when we did these rankings was something rather startling. That full disclosure, I've only seen. I mean, there's one on here. I don't even know why it's on here. I guess he makes an appearance or whatever. But I've seen like 5 movies of this guy, and what's amazing to me is this guy was everywhere in the zeitgeist when I was growing up, and I guess I just was never into him. Like, I was just way more like hardcore Seagal and Schwarzenegger. Those were like my guys. And Jean-Claude Van Damme, I just didn't care at all. I mean, I re-looked at everything on Letterboxd just to make sure, and I definitely have not seen at least all the way through, so I didn't count them. Things like Bloodsport, I don't think I ever saw Hard Target.
Don't spoil all these tile.
Okay,
Let's get into the list.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah.
Some of these movies are great. All right? I will be recommending more than half of my list.
Okay. There's one movie I'm going to ask you about when we start ranking it, because a lot of people have told me I would like, and I will ask you about it when you get to it.
I'm excited about that. Well, okay, I have 13 on my list here.
All right.
Let's talk about it. I'm still missing a lot. There are plenty of JCVD classics, including the film JCVD, that I have not seen.
Oh, you didn't see that?
No.
I did.
Oh. Why'd you see that? Did it mean anything to you?
Well, what it was I guess I watched it because even though I hadn't seen that many Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, like I said before, and I probably didn't articulate my thought well, what I meant when he was in the zeitgeist, like, I just, who he is. He's very, like, out, or at least he was, very much out there in the media and in the movie kind of atmosphere. So I knew everything to know about this guy. I just hadn't seen a ton of his movies. So it wasn't like, I obviously felt like I knew enough about him to be interested to watch it. You know what I mean? Otherwise I wouldn't have bothered. But I thought you would have definitely seen it. That surprises me.
I don't know. I wasn't. If I want to see Jean-Claude, like if that movie got really amazing reviews and everyone was like, "Holy shit!" Like Jean-Claude, he's gonna be nominated for an Oscar for this, I would have seen it. But like, I mean, it kind of came and went. And like, if I want to watch a Van Damme movie, I want to watch him do splits and like show his ass.
Right.
He shows his ass a lot.
Right.
Not in Street Fighter. Too much of a kid's movie.
Because he's got one move. He's got that big roundhouse kick.
No, but he can also do a perfect split, Henry. The scene in Time Cop when he jumps up on his kitchen sink and does the splits is one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. I think about it probably once a month.
Wow. Once a month. All right. That's not bad. I've heard worse. All right, get going.
All right, the worst Van Damme movie I've ever seen comes from my Blockbuster days, Henry. I was working at the Buster, and Van Damme had made the transformation into straight-to-video actor. And so I watched one of those movies. It was called In Hell. Hell, in this case, was a prison. It was he was like a prison fighting movie, kind of. But it was trying to be all grim and gritty. And I want to see Van Damme be silly.
Right.
All right, so that's worst on my list. After that, 12, Street Fighter. It sucks, man. I'm sorry.
Oop. All right. Usually, when we rank people, sometimes the spoilers do come. So it's okay.
Listen, we'll talk about it. But first and foremost is the one thing we said about Mortal Kombat is they're just doing the game on screen. Here's all the shit you wanted to see. I watched 2 Street Fighter movies this weekend, Henry, and I didn't see a single fucking Hadouken. Go fuck yourself.
All right.
Number 11 here is he was in an episode of Friends, Henry. A significant episode. This aired after the Super Bowl in January of 1995 during Friends' second season, I believe. And Jean-Claude Van Damme played himself, Henry.
I would assume.
Ross's monkey. You'll recall Ross had a monkey.
Sure, obviously. I remember
Marcel the monkey. He was working as a monkey actor on this film.
Okay.
Are you listening to me?
Yes.
Okay. And
He
then,
was working as a monkey actor on this film.
what were you doing just though?
Looking up Street Fighter on Wikipedia.
Great. All right.
Yeah.
I want to tell you about this Friends episode.
Yeah, I'm listening. I heard you. I get it.
Van Damme plays himself. They all go to the set of the movie to visit the monkey, of course, as you do.
Yeah.
And Van Damme gets hit on by Monica, okay?
Okay.
Courtney Cox.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say I knew who you meant. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Van Damme secretly is like not into Monica. He thinks Rachel's hot.
Well, I agree.
Mm-hmm. So, Rachel, in a show of good friendsmanship, bows out and lets Monica have the date. But Van Damme's kind of an asshole to Monica, and he tries to get her into a three-way with Drew Barrymore.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Is Drew Barrymore in the episode?
no, it's just a joke.
Okay.
But anyway, that's what happens. It is a post-Super Bowl episode. It's one of the highest-rated episodes in Friends history, and one of their worst episodes.
Okay. It sounds like gold.
It's star-studded, Henry. Same episode, you got Julia Roberts dating Chandler. You've got, I don't know, probably a few other stars, Henry.
Yeah, sounds good. That's enough. Okay.
What do you mean? You don't want me to talk about this Friends episode any longer?
No, I meant that's enough stars in one episode. That's a lot. Yeah.
Are you certain you want me to move on to the next entry?
No, that meant. That hadn't been what I meant. You know, yeah. If you'd like to move to number 10, sure.
Okay, sure. All right, number 10, Jean-Claude Van Damme's directorial debut, Henry.
Oh.
An incredible film called The Quest. Now, this is a period piece. Mm-hmm. Van Damme, of course, handles the period trappings perfectly. And it's like it's a karate tournament movie. It's sort of what you want from the Street Fighter movie, which is nice, and that's why it's better than the Street Fighter movie. And it's worth watching, Henry, because it has an incredible framing device with Jean-Claude Van Damme narrating the story from a bar stool, wearing old age makeup. And you'll be loving every second of that.
That's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's great stuff. And also, I just want to point out that I liked your reference just by referring to him as this Belgian idiot. I'm going to have that in my head forever.
That's all he is.
Yeah, well, you know, I didn't know your feelings on the man, so
I love him, but he's an idiot.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Number 9, Henry. Here it is. Double Team. I remember going to see the Star Wars Special Edition in theaters, and there was a cardboard stand-up for Double Team, and I was like, I gotta see that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you would have been like 11 at the time or something. Yeah,
I think that's exactly right. Yeah, and see it I did, Henry. Dennis Rodman's in it. He plays a weapons expert, but also one who can really throw the old basketball around.
Uh-oh, bizarre.
And JCVD, funnily enough, that film has the exact same premise as the classic 1960s The Prisoners show with
really?
Patrick McGowan, yeah.
Yeah. McGowan!
I mean, it's kind of the same premise as Lost, too.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So there you have it. Double Team. Very fun. Be sure to watch it with subtitles. You will not understand a word anybody's saying. Number 8 is, they all had one, Henry. A twin movie. Double Impact. Jean-Claude Van Damme playing twins. And very late in the movie, they finally reveal why they both have the same accent, even though one of them is from America and one of them is from Brussels.
Oh, yeah. And I assume the revelation isn't that Jean-Claude Van Damme can't do an American accent.
How dare you?
I dared.
Number 7, let's bring him in. My boy, Roland Emmerich, directed a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, and it is a franchise. We will be covering it someday. The great Universal Soldier.
Oh, yes. Okay. Saw it in theaters. Yeah.
You saw that in theaters?
Yep.
With Dolph. You like that one?
I can't say that yet. It's on my list.
All right. When do you come into this?
Number 5.
All right, let me just do the whole list, and then we'll get to yours.
Yeah.
All right. Number 6, here it is. Time to drop the puck, Henry. That's right, I'm talking about sudden death. It's Die Hard in a hockey rink during the Stanley Cup Finals. It ends with Jean-Claude Van Damme taking the ice, dressed as the goaltender so that he could spy on the villains. And finally, there's an incredible fight where he battles a mascot in a kitchen.
That sounds pretty good. A little tidbit. I was in high school in Pittsburgh when they were filming that movie because it was filmed in Civic Arena where the Penguins play, and
that's right. The Penguins are in the film. There are many Penguin cameos.
Is Mario Lemieux in there?
Probably Yager.
Yammer. Yeah, big deal.
Still playing.
Is he? No.
Yes, I swear to God.
What is he, 50?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. He went to go play overseas for a few years, and then he was like, "Fuck it, I'm going back."
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, so you're at 5. So I think we haven't played this in a while, but I think it might be time for this, my friend.
Ooh.
Heavy hitters. These are the grand slams, the slap shots, the three-pointers, the touchdowns, the curling when the puck gets close to the circle. These are the heavy hitters of the franchise. Heavy hitters.
These are all home runs.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I figured one's coming up that I figured you'd have on there. All right.
Number 5, kicking off another franchise, and I do mean it when I say kicking off, Henry, because I'm referring to the great Kickboxer.
Okay. Yeah. Another one like sudden death that I've bits and pieces here and there, bits and pieces. Yeah.
I mean, Kickboxer, it's very old-fashioned, but it is brutal. It gets intense, and I loved every second of it.
All right.
Oh, according to my Letterboxd review of that movie, that's the movie where he had a different accent from his brother. Oh, right, because... Sorry. I got two things conflated in my head. In that movie, he has a brother played by a different guy. Okay. Right? And it's like, why is this guy super Belgian and this guy's American and they're brothers? And then they explain it really late in the movie. In Double Impact, I think they just have the same accent because it's Jean-Claude Van Damme and he can't properly differentiate two characters.
Well, that's what I had suspected.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Number 4, Henry, just the best. It brought us Van Damme to these shores. The great Bloodsport.
Very famous, and again, for some reason, unseen by me.
An incredible tale of friendship and overcoming the odds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Right. Like that. Did you write that one?
Yeah, just now for Blockbuster.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Number 3, Henry. Le vin bon temps roulé.
Yeah. Right. Wait. Okay. Wait. That's really bad French. But were you trying to say Time Cop?
No, I was just doing a New Orleans thing. I was being a New Orleans guy.
So you were doing Hard Target.
You better believe it. I'm taking you down to the Raging Cajun Hard Target with Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, that's the one I've heard for a long time that people think I would find a lot of fun.
It's a great movie. It's a most dangerous game situation. He is being hunted, and I'll tell you what, he takes those guys out.
Really? Does he take out Wilford Brimley?
Brimley, I don't think is a bad guy. I think he's...
No, I mean, he can't be.
No, he is sometimes. He is in The Firm.
When he is, and he's great. He's great in The Firm.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
pretty
him
good.
in The Firm. Yeah.
All right, number 2, of course, Breakin'. He's jumping up and down wearing that tank top. We got to give it to him.
Wow. Okay.
And then number 1, my favorite Van Damme movie is Time Cop. I love every second of this great film by incredible filmmaker Peter Hyams. We covered him with 2010, and there he is. Time Cop.
Okay.
It's a perfect movie, and they made it a TV series for a while, and I watched it because I remember watching that movie thinking it would make a great TV series, and it kind of did, but it got canceled real fast.
All right, interesting. Time Cop. Okay, so you're a bigger fan than I thought. I mean, you've seen a significant portion of his.
Yeah, like when we did Seagal, you know those movies maybe better than I do, but I know my Van Dammes.
Yeah, you sure do. Well, I don't. So here's my top 5, and number 5 wasn't even mentioned by you, so I'm assuming that he's not in it, and it's some sort of reference or cameo, because that is Last Action Hero.
I'm sure he's in it. I'm sure there's a cameo of some sort, but I have seen that movie like 3 or 4 times, and I don't remember it, and so I didn't include it.
Yeah, well, I hate that movie, and so that's last.
It's an incredible film.
Piece of shit. Number 4.
But a great tribute to the art of the cinema.
Yeah,
Everybody should watch Last Action Hero now. It'll reignite your love for the cinema. You'll want to sit there with your mask, watch Tenet for 4 hours.
That's a dig at me, folks.
He hasn't done it yet, but he's considering it.
Yeah.
Tell Henry he's dumb for going to the theaters.
Yeah.
You're going to get so many people emailing you this week going like, you should do it. It's safe out there. But to all those people, you're dumb too.
Right. I appreciate Dan's assessment of my intellectual quotient. So I it's always welcome.
I think you're too smart to be making such stupid decisions in the middle of this pandemic. I feel like you're going to murder your parents just so that you can see a fucking Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah. I don't want to kill anyone.
I hope not.
I want to go to that Trump rally they're having right now, though, where they're not socially distanced and no one's wearing masks.
It's so great.
There's a lot of them. Yeah.
S of the fittest, baby. Okay.
Yeah, it is. All right. Number 4 is Street Fighter.
Did you make this list after watching it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd never seen it before, so. No.
I didn't want to make any assumptions.
Uh-huh. Number 3 is Breakin'.
Great.
Number 2 is JCVD, which I really liked.
All right, and what's number 1?
Universal Soldier.
Oh, right, Universal Soldier. It is great, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I haven't seen it in a very long time, but, you know, Dolph Lundgren's great. I'm always down for some Dolph, and I recall it being pretty damn cool, and I'm looking forward to covering it. I really am.
Emmerich and Devlin, they were all killer, no filler, man. All the way up until, like, 10,000 BC or something.
That's Dean Devlin, his partner, kind of, right?
Who's now, they've split, and he's making his own trash movies, and they're amazing.
Wow, all right.
Hey, Henry, you love watching trash horror movies. Can you please do me a favor and watch Dean Devlin's super trash horror movie, Bad Samaritan?
Bad Samaritan. Okay, I actually don't like watching trash horror movies.
Then why do you spend all your days doing that?
I watch on lesser known horror movies. Just because you haven't fucking heard of them doesn't make them trash. Okay? Yeah. And a lot of them are new and are being released on demand.
Yeah, it's really easy to produce movies now.
Dumb fuck.
Henry, I could produce a movie this week and get it on Amazon Prime. You would watch it on Letterboxd and give it 3 stars.
You can produce a movie and put it on Amazon Prime?
It'll be trash.
Why don't the fuck you do that then, man?
Because like a million movies go up on Amazon Prime every day, and they're all trash.
Yeah, that's why you're not doing it. Okay.
I don't have any money.
You haven't watched a single movie that I have reviewed in any capacity. You just see and judge. That's going on your tombstone. Here lies Dan. He saw and judged.
And was right. You have to include that part.
Actually, after the ellipsis
Yeah.
was right.
It's like a Megadeth album title.
The flowers will be covering that when I visit your grave. All right.
As long as people are leaving me flowers.
Well,
Why do you assume that I'm dying first, old man?
I did. I certainly actually don't. I don't think that.
I mean,
at
I
all.
can understand that assumption maybe when we started this podcast.
No. I've always said of all of our friends, I'll be dead first. There's no doubt in my mind, so it'll be fine. I kind of want to die first.
I don't think that's true.
I think it is. I want you guys to celebrate me, and so I don't want to celebrate anybody. I want to be celebrated.
Yeah, but you'd need to be there.
Well, yeah, and I don't believe in an afterlife.
Yeah. So you don't want to die. You want to be like Templeton the Rat, just like fucking, wandering through the tunnels of the ashes of the world.
I gotta fake my own death and then see what you guys all do for me. And then if you don't,
I got news for you, Henry.
Don't come through.
There is an episode of Friends, where Ross does just that.
Really? To
Yeah.
see what people do for him?
And then he attends his own wake.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of Friends references for this one particular.
I'll keep it going. What's your favorite episode of Friends?
Well, the one you just described sounded great, but I'm a big fan of the Tom Selleck one.
Why, he's in many.
I'm a big fan of the Tom Cruise one.
He's not in it.
That's a great one. The Brad Pitt episode.
He's in it.
The Katie Cuckaloo.
Do you want me to talk about the Brad Pitt episode?
No.
It's a Thanksgiving episode.
No. I know I've heard about it. I know about it. Thank you. I know about it.
He's got real bad 2000 hair in it.
Anyway, I think you should see JCVD. I think you'd appreciate it. I think you'd have a good
Probably
time.
will someday, but like what?
Why?
Why? The world's over.
I know. Dan's all nostalgia. Nothing new anymore. We discussed it prior to the recording.
Everything that's coming out now, it's just the leftover remains of years of art.
Yeah.
So enjoy Tenet, ladies and gentlemen. It's the final Christopher Nolan movie.
Dan has never been accused of being a Pollyanna, folks. That's for sure. I'll say that.
He has been accused of being polyamorous, though, but he only is occasionally. Henry, Street Fighter, Stephen E. D'Souza. Let's talk about him. The casting couch wizard himself.
Yeah.
We discussed him on the first ever episode of the franchise. Why is that? Because he wrote Die Hard?
He produced it, I think. Or did he write it too? He might have written it. Yeah. But we did a whole bit on that. A nervous, not quite sure of himself as a podcaster, Henry, and a very sure of himself, Dan. And it was still funny. Yeah.
Was it?
I think so.
I haven't listened to it in a very long time. But Stephen E., listen, he was the hot shit at this point in Hollywood. And all he wanted to do was direct. And he finally got the opportunity with Street Fighter. He was having horrible problems in terms of getting the thing made, so he deferred his entire earnings to pay for a cast, and he just wanted to have a movie directed so that he can now be a director. And, of course, this movie came out and he never got to direct again.
Yeah, exactly. And, yeah, you're right. He did write. He co-wrote Die Hard with Jeb Stewart. How could we forget Jeb
Let's
Stewart?
go through some of the creds. He wrote 48 hours. The Nick Nolte character, of course, based on him.
Is that right?
No. I'm just...
That'd be great. Oh, my God. You fooled me. I thought maybe they just turned him into a cop and then just based him on there. Yeah.
I assume Stephen E. D'Souza is a racist, misogynistic piece of shit, but I don't know. Let's see. Commando. He wrote that, Henry. The Running Man. All right?
Yeah, I can't. It's kind of hard to talk bad about this guy's writing.
Hudson Hawk.
Okay, you can speak badly.
Ricochet.
That's entertaining.
A great movie.
Yeah.
The Flintstones, Henry. Future episode. Beverly Hills Cop 3, past episode.
Ooh.
Do you think he wrote that part where George Lucas was like, "Hey, we're trying to get on the Ferris wheel"?
I think so. I believe he probably needed that to help get the movie made.
Yeah. So this kind of killed his career in a lot of ways. He did some script doctor work after this. He wrote. He has a story credit on one of the Tomb Raider movies, and he wrote Judge Dredd. But this was like the end of the golden age of D'Souza.
Yeah. Well, he had a good run. I mean,
what a run it was.
It was a long run. I mean, if you start with 48 Hours and you go all the way to Street Fighter, it's a nice 12-year stint.
He had a long career. He was making a lot of money too. He was one of the highest-grossing writers of the decade. I bet you he has scripts that sold for multi-million dollars that never even got made.
Yeah, and he's got, like we said previously, an amazing couch. It's a forensic phenomenon. So
I gotta think he replaces the couch pretty often.
I don't know. Either that or he's one of these guys who likes to collect. So he just kind of keeps it the way it is. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, man. You think he's got like a warehouse like the end of Raiders where it's just like old casting couches?
He brings in like Warren Beatty and Michael Douglas and Jack Nicholson. Just
all the greats, the all-stars. That's the Mount Rushmore of casting couches.
All the womanizers.
Louis B. Mayer.
Yeah. And he's just like, hey, check out, I think that was my D'Souza impression all those years ago. Hey, if you blue light this, you got to put on your glasses if you want to see all the leakage. Yeah.
Henry.
Yeah.
I bought ice cream.
Uh-oh.
Like an hour ago, and
you forgot to put it in the freezer.
I gotta put it in the freezer.
It's behind you, melting. Is that what's
It's right here. Please continue the show.
Okay. Sure, I'll continue the show. All right. So Dan, very prepared today. Hadn't done his rankings. Forgot to put his ice cream away, and I will tell you what I'm staring at in the meantime. I'm looking at a huge blue screen of Ryu and Ken, 1-player, 2-player for Street Fighter, and a map of the world, and Shadaloo. And it's pretty cool, I gotta say. And
what happened?
You have a freezer in your close to you?
Yeah, the kitchen's right outside my door, baby.
My God! Wow.
Mm-hmm. All right. What were we talking about?
I just led the listeners on a tour of what's behind you right now.
Oh.
Yeah, a little geographical tour of the world.
Okay. This film was released on my sister's birthday, December 23rd, 1994. A budget of $35 million. And it made $99.4 million.
It's a lot of money.
Did all right. Came in at number 42. At the box office, made slightly less than Nell, of course.
Nell had better dialogue, though.
You better believe it. What is it? Chickadee?
Chickadee. You can say more than that, Nell. If you believe in yourself, and yourself believes in your...
Chickapoo, chickadee.
Chickadee. Chickapoo, Nell. Come on, Nell.
Take a look at my penis, and perhaps you will be able to communicate better.
That sounds more like Raul Julia in Street Fighter.
Game over!
I gotta say, I think every time I do my Liam Neeson, it's better and better. I never really had a Liam Neeson impression, and I just want to say for myself that it's a good impression now.
You're nailing it. It made slightly more than The Shadow, and let's talk about its awards, Henry.
Oh, okay. I better get them up.
Street Fighter was a contender in 2 categories at our favorite awards show, Henry, the Saturn Awards.
Really?
Hell yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I didn't know you were going to go with that first.
It's the only one.
I get a lot of I got a lot of requests for that.
You know what's amazing? It would be so easy for Henry to predict which award shows I'm going to bring up because all you have to do is look up what awards the movies were nominated for.
That spoils the spontaneity of the show.
Oh,
I don't want to know certain things. I thought you were going to say Razzies.
I love that I'm giving you shit less than 5 minutes after going to put ice cream in the freezer.
And not having your rankings ready and, a bunch of
Don't
stuff.
tell them that.
That's fine. I already did when you were gone.
God damn it.
All right. Here it comes. It was in this email thread, I believe.
Oh, my God. How? What? It's not worth it.
No, just go ahead and read them and I'll find it.
Saturn Awards, Street Fighter was nominated for the Best Science Fiction Film of the Year. It lost... Yeah, I know. It's not really science fiction. It lost to Stargate.
That's not why I made a face. I made a face because the Saturn Awards, I thought, generally have better taste.
Might not have been a strong year. They nominated what they had.
I'll say, Jesus Christ.
All right,
Okay.
and Raul Julia, Henry, posthumously was nominated for Best Supporting Actor of the Year.
That's very generous of them.
Mm-hmm. And he lost to Mr. Gary Sinise as Lieutenant Dan, baby.
Oh, all right. Oh, by the way, editorial correction. I looked up my own information that I said a few weeks ago on Gary Sinise, and he is a lifelong Republican, but disavowed Trump.
There you go.
I
knew it.
In 2016, when he demeaned McCain, that was it for him.
Oh, well, I am glad McCain's dead, so I don't think Gary Sinise would be a huge fan of mine either.
The Mexican stuff was
Hopefully
fine. And all
Megan
that
goes
shit,
soon.
Yeah. Oh, guess what I have? Guess what I have ready. You ready?
Yeah.
Saturn is between Uranus and Neptune. Saturn World Sci-Fi Best of Films.
You feel good about that?
I feel like it's worth the wait, is what I feel. Yeah.
You do. You really
I
do.
I do.
I can tell that you do.
Merlis, I had to find Merlis in here, and he gave me 2 of them. There was that other one, too, he sent me. I think it's worth hearing. So we're going to do that. Yeah, that's not as good as the final one.
The last part's good. I don't want to hear it again.
Between Uranus and Neptune, Saturn World Sci-Fi Best of Films.
Yeah. I got an email about that theme recently from Olivia, who said she can't get it out of her head, and it's a masterpiece.
I'm sure she meant that sincerely.
I know she did. We had a back and forth about it. Yeah.
I'm so glad, Henry.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I'm proud of my themes that I contract out.
You should be.
Thank you. You're damn right I am. All right, go ahead with your fucking lists.
I mean, I'm done. Let's talk about this movie.
So no Razzies. All right.
No. I don't know why. It should have been nominated for Razzies.
Yeah, and I also got excited because I had found my Razzie theme after being lost in cyberspace. I found it again.
Oh, exciting.
We don't have to hear it.
I don't want to hear it.
No. When we do need it,
we'll never need it again.
How's that?
No, I guess we will. We'll have to do another episode of the Razzmatazz.
Have you listened to our show and the content we cover? I think we will need it at least 3,000 or 4,000 more times.
All right, listen. Bison, let's talk about it. He's so you might think that this is a film about people fighting on the street. You're wrong. It is about an island nation. Is it an island? Or is it just like European?
It feels like it's...
Where is this?
I felt like we were in kind of a Taiwan scenario. So
no, well, that's where we shot, Henry. But
that's what it looked like. And then so I was thinking island, sure.
What's the name of this place?
Well, I'm looking behind Shadaloo.
Well, I noticed that they were leaning on Shadaloo in the first movie, and by the second movie, they've made it Shadaloo to make it sound slightly more Asian because of the Chun-Li element.
And more serious. Sounds more serious than Shadaloo.
Shadaloo does sound silly, and they say it a lot, and it never sounds not silly.
Yes. I'm a little. I didn't know which way you'd lean on this movie, and I was surprised to well, kind of surprised.
It's just everything that's fun about it. It's just boring. Like everything they do. The movie opens. I mean, I don't remember how it opens exactly, but really early on, there's like a scene. You're constantly being introduced to Street Fighter characters, and it's like, hey, you know the Street Fighter character you like? This is a guy who kind of looks like him, but he's not going to do any of the things you like. So, like, they introduced Dalsim, who's one of my favorite characters from the game. I used to play as that guy all the time. He's this, like, Indian mystic, and, like, his whole power thing is, like, his limbs stretch. Like, you could punch a guy from across the screen.
Right. Yeah,
he's like Mr. Fantastic or some shit. So, like, they introduce him, and, like, I'm like, all right, sweet, Dalsim. What's he going to breathe fire and shit? Because he does that, too. And it's just like, he's a scientist.
He's a scientist. He doesn't fight.
And he's old. It's like, I'm super psyched to see Dalsim, D'Souza. What do you have for me? Well, how do you feel about a 60-year-old scientist who delivers exposition and nothing else?
Yeah, I was. The characters are really bad. I thought a couple of them were amusing, but overall, it definitely it's going right away, right off the bat. It's going for a camp tone, but it just doesn't pull it off. And I think you're right that one of the reasons it doesn't work is it really is just boring. I mean, it's a catastrophic mess, but it doesn't have like the. It doesn't even take itself serious enough as like a Mortal Kombat. Where,
but
like,
it takes itself too seriously, though. Where, like, Mortal Kombat is taking the game seriously and just, like, trying to present the game at face value. This is a movie that is totally shying away from the game. And it's just, like, trying to be a real movie, but it's not. Yeah. It sucks.
It does suck. It's garbage. I hated it too. And I did make a quick judgment when right in the first 10, 15 minutes, and this also contributed to part of my opinion on Jean-Claude Van Damme, the Belgian idiot, was that I kept thinking in the back of my head I would hear something different from you when we recorded, but I'm not hearing it. And I was thinking to myself, I bet you he probably is a better actor in other things. Maybe this is just a bad performance.
I think it is a bad performance, though. Like, I don't think he's a good actor, but
awful.
This is the worst he's ever been in anything. And I think it might be because I read that this was the height of his addiction problems. Like, he to the point, like, he wasn't showing up on set, and he was just going out in Thailand and doing coke and fucking whores. And they actually hired, like, a wellness attendant to, like, hang out with Jean-Claude and make sure he wasn't doing drugs. But then it turned out that guy that they hired was corrupt and was, like, getting drugs for Jean-Claude.
And, Thailand's a good place to be if you want to try to stay sober.
Yeah. He was also, I think, married at this point and having an affair with Kylie Minogue, who played Cammy.
Oh. Yeah. Very nice.
Can't get you out of my head. And the loving is all I think about.
Are you surprised I knew that?
A little bit. Kylie, of course, we have a lot of European and Australian listeners, and she's huge there.
Still?
I think, like, she is like Madonna overseas, like, really big. And, like, she was just like a one-hit wonder here.
Yeah, she was. She really was. That's all I ever knew of her. And
she's got, like, a famous sister, too, and we don't give a shit about her here.
Well, I didn't even know that when she was in this movie that she was even anything at all. Like,
she was just starting to be, man.
Okay, because that song, when is that song from?
It's later. That was like a comeback. There were, like, if you remember, Henry, there were, like, a few songs that came out during the late 90s when, like, bubblegum pop was at the top of the charts, which were older bubblegum popsters trying to recapture their career. That was one of
Madonna did it.
Yeah, and a couple of the new kids. Remember they like started solo careers during that?
Oh, vaguely.
Joey McIntyre and Jordan Knight.
Okay, I
Uh-huh.
probably sold their records. I just don't
I'm
remember.
sure that you did, my friend. But yeah, so Minogue's actually worked out. Like that "Can't Get You Out of My Head" was a huge hit.
Okay, sure. All right. Well, she's in this, and yeah, Raul Julia. Boy, I haven't seen a great number of his films. I was curious about that, so I looked him up on my letterboxd, and I haven't seen him in that many movies, but the ones I have seen him in, I recall him being quite good.
He's
and
a great
excellent.
actor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's incredible in The Panic at Needle Park and Eyes of Laura Mars and a few other things. And, of course, Gomez Adams.
well,
I know you don't like those movies inexplicably. I bet you if you watch them now, you'd like them more.
I think you're wrong.
I think you were a snobby little bitch back then. Those movies are legitimately good, both of them.
I don't think I was a snobby little bitch when the first one came out. I believe that was the right age.
Well, then you were wrong. You were wrong. You weren't ready for it. It was too dark and smart for you.
I do think it came out around the same time I watched Taxi Driver and got into Martin Scorsese.
Oh, it sounds like you were becoming a snob.
I was what you are now. So how's that?
You think I'm a snob?
No, I don't. I don't think that.
Listen, I am a snob, but I also love Jean-Claude Van Damme. I am all things to all people, Henry.
Right. You're an everyman.
I truly am. I can appreciate anything on its own level.
So can I. You know that.
Can you?
You just told me I'm the king of trash horror movies.
Yeah, but that's all you watch. It's trash horror movies and sports documentaries.
Right, that's all I do. That's all I do. He knows me to a T, folks.
That's right.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead with your culture.
That dog's in here again.
With the ice cream?
Thank God I got rid of the ice cream. All right. What are we talking about?
By the way, R.I.P. Raul Julia.
Listen, he died right after the making of this movie. He had stomach cancer. He had horrible cancer while he was making this movie. He doesn't look good.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't look like a vital man in this film.
No, vital. He does not look vital. Yeah, I know. But he did it for his kids, is what I read.
Why did he do it, though?
Everyone does that shit, though,
But
right?
he was dying. Stay home with your kids.
Well, he brought
You
them
did it for your kids so they can see a shitty Street Fighter movie? Stay home with your kids. Be a dad.
They don't know any better. Maybe it was something he wanted to give them.
What I'm trying to say here is Raul Julia was a shitty father.
You are a horrible person. I'm sure he wanted to give his kids a last memory of being on a movie set.
He was in those Addams Family movies.
Maybe he didn't take them to that set.
But those are kids' movies.
Maybe he didn't get to take him to the set of Eyes of Laura Mars.
But, like, I would take him to the Addams Family set. Why would he take him to this set with Jean-Claude Van Damme in the corner doing bumps? In fucking Thailand.
Listen, children. I will bring you to Thailand and you will meet your hero, Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's Belgian and he's a fantastic guy, or so I've heard. You will witness many great things. And then they get there and it's just...
Is he already in character as Bison during that?
Obviously. So he prepped for it.
He's method, man.
Can
you imagine that in his dying days, just like method acting as M. Bison?
What is prep?
You play the VG, I guess.
No, but I mean, like, now video games...
Oh, I actually read this. I read that Raul Julia studied footage of, like, Mussolini and Stalin to do this character.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, I could... Okay. Yeah, sure.
He certainly had a real big cape and a very flat cap.
He did.
And he talked very stentorian at all times.
Yes, he did. He did indeed. Yeah, it's bad. He's bad. Most people don't come out of this movie too well.
Does anybody?
Well, I have an MVP. I mean, you do too. So we'll see who those people are.
Do I?
Yeah.
You're assuming I remembered to do that?
No, you probably didn't.
I had a weird week, man.
Yeah, you'll do it on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
But,
Who else do we have here? It's the Allied Nations is sort of like a more warmongering UN, I assume.
I assume. I mean, you got the Allied Nations, and essentially it's like one. It's like the whole world is, I guess, one nation, and then you have Raul Julia leading a coup for another type of nation.
Yeah, he calls it a shadow empire.
Yeah.
I don't really know what's going on. He kind of lays out his plan at some point, and it's just so wild. Like, it would
It's just world
so
domination.
never work.
It's just world domination. I mean, as far
But
as
it's
I recall.
deeper than that. Like, he wants to, like, turn his people into, like, a race of super people, and then they're gonna,
Yeah.
like, street fight everybody to death and then
I
run the
think-
world.
I think it's just sort of a 1984 deal where he just wants to make everybody docile so he rules over it, and the only way to do that is to conquer everybody, and by conquering the Allied nation, in order to do that, he's going to develop these super soldiers like the green fella and get everybody.
That's Blanco.
That's Blanca.
He was fun to play with as a kid. You'd want to play with because
I remember him.
it's fun to play with the silly characters. There was also Akuma, who I like to play with. He wasn't in either of these movies, unfortunately.
Blanca's got great makeup in this movie. He looks really good.
He really looks like fucking Lou Ferrigno.
Wow, he does.
Yeah.
Does even the wig just a little bit tinted and a little longer
Yeah.
than Fruit's. Yeah. Yeah, Blanca's given 110%. That's for sure.
That's such an inside joke. So what's it? So Colonel Guile is Van Damme, and he's the head of the Allied Nations. They're trying to take down Bison. We get really thrown into all this, too. Like, this is a conflict that has been happening for a while, and good luck, guys. You'll pick up on it.
Yeah, there's no backstory at all.
He's got a
whatsoever.
friend, that who turns out to be Blanca. Remember, Bison has Carlos, I believe his name is.
Yeah, well, he doesn't know that it's Van Damme's friend, and then Van Damme, like a genius character would, says on worldwide television, "Charlie, is that you?" And then Raul Julia's like, "Oh, this is your friend?"
I
Okay.
know, what an idiot. Yeah, Van Damme, it annoyed me that he called him Charlie, actually, because there's a Street Fighter character named Charlie. You can't just, like, call Blanca Charlie. They're two different characters.
Because I click on the thing, and Carlos Charlie comes up as Charlie Nash.
That's Chris Klein's great character in Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. One of
Right.
the single most entertaining acting performances I've ever seen in a film.
I'm not going to disagree with that. even though
I can't wait to get to it.
yeah.
It's
okay.
unbelievable. What is Chris Klein up to?
I don't know, but I'm happy about it.
Is he trying? Listen, I know we'll get to it. We'll get back to this in a second. Is he trying? Is he going for weird? Is it like a Nick Cage thing in like Wicker Man or something where he's trying to be kind of silly?
Oh, I think so.
Is it genuine?
I've always thought, watching that movie, I definitely think he is fully aware he's in Street Fighter.
I don't
2.
know.
He does.
Is Chris Klein smart enough to know that?
Thought he was, but I really think he is.
He's just
I
like
think
a guy from Nebraska that Alexander Payne discovered and threw him into the world of Hollywood, and I don't know that he can act at all.
First of all, I thought you were a Chris Klein defender.
I'm Chris Klein superfan number one. Scooby Dooby Doo Wop, Scooby Dooby 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 Doo Wop, yeah, magic.
That's right. I am not a Chris Klein defender, but I think this performance, he is fully conscious of what he's doing. Absolutely.
I don't know. I just don't know.
I really err on that side. It's not because I want to. I just thought it was so obvious to me. I'm like, he is having a good time with this bullshit movie.
It is a performance that has to be
great.
seen to be believed.
Great. Sneering and leering and smirking and glurking. It's good stuff.
I love this job.
Yeah, it's amazing.
All right.
Almost as good as Moon Bloodgood.
Oh, well, Moon Bloodgood. She's an actor. Wes Studi is in this film.
I'm just getting to him next. Yeah. All right. You know what? No, he didn't come out all right. He comes out all right. He comes out all right.
He comes in. He says his name is Iron Fist.
Yeah.
I was like, that's interesting. Who has the rights to that?
Yeah, I know. I guess no one gave a shit in 94 about Marvel rights to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Wes Studi's a great actor, and he always comes through anything all right. So
Sometimes he's boring. So Ryu.
Native American stuff.
First of all, they're calling him Ryu in this movie. Can I talk about that a little bit?
Ryu.
Okay, his name is Ryu in this movie. In both movies, they refer to him consistently as Ryu. But when I was younger, Henry, when I was a kid playing Street Fighter, I once was talking to an older boy, and I referred to him as Ryu, and this motherfucker got all up in my face and like gave me shit and said it's pronounced Ryu, and that I sound like a fucking idiot. And ever since then, I've pronounced it Ryu. And now watching these movies, I'm like, did this motherfucker like give me the wrong information? And I've just been operating on that shit for all these years.
You could have been. I mean, it sounds like he was a big bully, and probably didn't know what he was talking about.
I don't even remember who told it to me, but I just remember that moment of humiliation. Oh,
sure. You can't get a name. You can't get a video game name wrong when you're a kid. It's a big, massive no. Yeah. But it sounds like a prick. So you came out the other end, not a bitter person, which is good.
Thanks, bro. Ryu fights Vega. That's like the first big fight of the movie.
Yeah. No. He's about to, and we're all waiting for that fight. And then it gets completely stopped and interrupted before it starts.
That's right, yeah. We can't buy a fucking fight in this movie.
That's exactly what I thought when I was watching it. I was like, how much do I have to pay, since I paid to watch this? How much do I give another $1 to have a street fight?
Start punching each other.
Oh, my God. There's so much dumb dialogue that just keeps going on
There's
and on.
There's so much plot, and like the plot never makes sense for a single second. So why am I listening to these like labyrinthine plot explanations? Just Hadouken somebody.
Just Hadouken somebody, man. It's Shadaloo Hadouken. Hadouken Shadaloo.
I was thinking about that moment in Mortal Kombat when Scorpion says "Get over here" for the first time, and like if you're showing that in an audience of Mortal Kombat fans, they're gonna go ape shit for that moment.
Yeah.
If all you have to do in a Street Fighter movie is just have one goddamn fucking moment where Rai fucking Ooh says Hadouken, a little purple cloud comes out of his hands and hits somebody with it, all right?
Yeah. It's not a lot to ask, Stephen E. D'Souza. It's really not. Another Stephen E. D'Souza touch I caught was we get as Balrog in this movie, we get Grand L. Bush from Die Hard. He played one of the FBI agents in Die Hard who gets killed in the chopper.
I didn't notice. Balrog is the boxer?
The good guy in this one. Yes.
Yeah, he's a bad guy in the next one.
That's right.
That's the problem with fighting games. There's no rhyme or reason. Like, there's no good guys or bad guys. In Mortal Kombat, they were just like, I guess all the ninja-looking people are bad guys.
Yeah, right. Showing your face, you're a good guy. If you're hiding it, you're bad.
Yeah. If you have, say, the legs of a horse, you're bad.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
If you have more than 2 arms, you're bad.
Absolutely, man. If you have fangs,
you're probably bad. But in Street Fighter, it doesn't feel like they did the necessary work. Like, it's just because it's such a random group of characters. It literally is like a boxer and a green monster. And so, like, some of the choices are really weird. Like, I never thought they'd make Blanca a good guy.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know the game as well at all, so it didn't really I just came out of it when I watched the second one, I was like, oh, I guess these are malleable characters. I did not have
because they're not
definite
really character. All you know about the characters is their fighting moves, but they never fight in this fucking movie, so you don't have to worry about shit like that.
Yeah, and I also one of my favorite parts is when Chun-Li,
played by the great Ming-Na Wen, one of the few real actors in this movie.
It's true. She has a fight with Raul Julia, who has, basically in the first couple scenes dispatched rather easily of a couple soldiers, and then he's really wanting to fight Van Damme, and then Chun-Li comes in.
Mm-hmm. And she's going to be a great fighter because she's established as a journalist.
That's correct. That's correct. And she beats his ass into a window. So then immediately I'm kind of like, oh. Well,
yeah, but then he uses his flying powers.
Not on her. She just kicks his ass.
Oh.
And then it's just kind of like, oh, that was anticlimactic. So obviously Van Damme's going to be able to take him. So what's the, he doesn't, I don't know. It's a fucking disaster.
Yeah, it's true. You're right. It's like, that's what you do in wrestling. You show a guy kill a bunch of people, and then when, like, your main face fights him, it's amped up because it's like, wow, he might lose.
He's no match for her, so it's kind of like, and that happens like, this movie feels
it doesn't look like the guy can beat a child in hand-to-hand combat in this movie. He's on the verge of death.
I mean, it was hard to believe for sure for that reason, but also because it's Raul Julia. But, some good stunts might have helped.
There's no fight choreography. There's no stunts.
It's real bad. And, I think also I read that the $35 million budget, $8 million went to Van Damme, and then Julia got a big chunk too. I can imagine probably 3 or 4. Maybe, this is post-Addams Family, so Raul Julia was probably commanding 3 or 4
No,
mil.
he was not.
2 or 3 mil.
1 mil.
1 or 2 mil.
Also, Capcom provided a large chunk of the budget of this movie.
For what?
Well, I guess they wanted a Street Fighter movie to be made, but what?
Tanks? I mean, where'd it go? Where'd the money go?
I'm just saying Capcom provided like more than half the budget, and so they had creative control.
But you can't see the money anywhere. That's what I'm trying to say.
I feel like you can. It's a big movie.
I disagree. I mean, it is a big movie in location-wise, but I mean, the sets look like they were left over on like a third-tier version of Demolition Man.
Yeah, I mean, and it might be.
They're really poor. They're not well-constructed sets. They look really, really, really fake. I mean, it's really piss-poor production on this movie.
I guess you're right. I don't know. I saw this movie as a kid, and I didn't like it. And it was because I didn't find it fun. And I did feel that way still, but I liked it a little bit more. Like, Stephen E. D'Souza kind of can write dialogue, so there's a few little spiky bits of dialogue here and there that, like, as a kid, I super didn't give a fuck about because I just wanted to see Hadoukens. But as an adult, like, watching a 90-minute movie, you're looking for anything to hang on to. Well, and so I didn't hate this the way I once did. I gave it a 1 when I saw it, when I was on Letterboxd or whatever, and I don't know. It might be a 2.
No.
You don't think so? You think I should stick with 1?
I mean, I'm it's a 1 for me. And I mean, the only people who I think had a sense of humor in the movie, and it actually worked, turned out to be side characters, really, that should have probably just been the focus of the movie, not Guile. And those are the 2 guys that are on either side of you right now.
Ryu and Ken?
Yeah, I thought those 2 were kind of funny. They had a good chemistry together, and they're the only 2 people in the movie that are in any way entertaining.
Look, I was surprised. I'm continuously surprised that Ryu and Ken aren't like the leads of the game. Yeah. I mean, of the movies, because I don't know. It just seems to me like playing Mortal Kombat. It always felt like the protagonists were probably Liu Kang and Sonya Blade.
Okay.
And, I mean, and they got that right in the movies. But in Street Fighter, it always felt to me like Ryu and Ken and Chun-Li. Like, if you're going to do a Street Fighter movie, like, they're your main guys.
Well, I didn't even remember Guile at all. I mean, I remember those two, Ryu and Ken, from the game. That's who I remember. I don't remember fucking Guile.
I only remember Guile from his, like, flat top hairdo.
Yeah, see, I don't even remember that, man. I just remember
I
those
mean, Guile was a main character, but it just seems to me weird that you'd make 2 Street Fighter movies and, like, Ryu and Ken would be, like, barely in the first one and not
Right.
at all in the second one.
Yeah. Strange. Yeah.
Ryu, I recognized, of course, from my recent viewing of the Richard Gere film Red Corner, in which he is imprisoned in Red China. They only refer to the movie as to the country as Red China in that movie.
Oh. No. Red China.
Seems vaguely racist.
Vaguely, yeah. I never saw Red Corner.
Oh, you'd love it.
Yeah, I knew you were going to
That's a Henry movie.
I really don't think I would.
You would!
That's a little too on the
No.
potboiler side for me.
You'd love it.
Too Tom Clancy for
No.
me. A little too Tom Clancy for me.
It's stupid, but you'd be loving it. You know what? I gotta say, as an adult, I'm turning a corner, a red corner, if you will, on Richard Gere.
I never had much of an issue with him. I like Richard Gere.
I've never been a Gere guy. I guess mostly because, like, the first few things I saw him in were, like, rom-coms or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm really enjoying him. I recently watched Dr. T and the Women and Red Corner and American Gigolo, and now I'm like...
Well, he's great in American
Days
Gigolo.
of Heaven, he's great.
In what? Days of Heaven?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great in Days of Heaven. He's great in American Gigolo. He's very good in Unfaithful.
I'm a Richard Gere fan, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're not incapable of evolving.
Richard Gere is great in a lot of movies, and that gerbil was great in Richard Gere.
Nice original joke. Yeah.
I'd like to just take any opportunity I can to remind people that Richard Gere definitely had a gerbil removed from his rectum during sex play.
Now, that has been debunked.
It's 100% true.
Okay. All right.
What do you mean it's been debunked?
I just never bought it. I always thought it was part of one of those urban Hollywood legends. I didn't think it was like an actual thing. I mean, is there anyone who has any, like, whence did that begin?
Have you ever heard Richard Gere say, "I never had a gerbil up my ass"?
He gave a press conference in
He
1982.
did?
Oh.
Shut the fuck up.
That's great, though.
It just seems crazy. Like, you would deny that.
Well, because I just totally thought that at this point that was one of those old things like Black Dahlia myths and shit like that. That was just nothing.
Well, I'm bringing it back. I think it's true.
Okay.
Richard Gere, it's a fact.
Yeah.
During a particularly wild round of sex play involving inserting rodents into your butthole, he got a little too zealous. That gerbil got a little too far up. They couldn't get it out with the tweezers, and they brought Gere in to get it removed via vacuum cleaner.
Now, is that part of the story, the vacuum cleaner?
I might have
part?
made that part up.
I think you did. I don't think that would work.
That's just what I picture.
My vacuum cleaner can't even pick up lint. I don't know if a vacuum cleaner would suck a gerbil out of his asshole.
Well, you don't know about these vacuum cleaners they have in these Hollywood hotels.
It's true. A lot of those producers get a lot of usage out of them.
Are you kidding me? You know how many times that's happened in that room that John Belushi died in?
Oh, God.
Okay, so I like Bison's country. He's got bison. You know, he calls them bison dollars, the money.
Yes.
Why not bison bucks?
That's why you should have been on the movie.
Why wouldn't you call it bison bucks?
I think you should make your Amazon Prime movie called Bison Bucks.
It doesn't make any sense. They also reference, Henry, the Pax Bisonica.
Yes, Peace Bison Land. Yeah.
Well, it's like the Pax Romana.
Yeah, or Pax Americana. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I guess. So his plan for Bison dollars, excuse me, is they're going to be worth £5 British, and they say, "How are you going to do that?" And he says he's going to kidnap the Queen.
Yes, he does.
None of his plans make sense to me.
He's not the smartest villain we've encountered. He has a lot of plans, not a lot of plans on how to carry out those plans.
Yeah,
he just says a lot of things.
He sure does. Anytime we cut to Bison, it's just him like hanging around that one set monologuing. I assume because Raul Julia had to be on bed rest. Other than that, he shouldn't be in this movie.
He couldn't. He could only go as far as the saline solution IV would allow him to try.
All right. So Blanca becomes a monster at the end, and you're like, "Oh, fucking finally, this monster is gonna like rampage everyone. Everybody's gonna have to like kick its ass." But
it's gonna be awesome.
Dr. Dalsim did some sort of procedure that let Blanca retain his humanity. So now he's just like some sad bastard who's green.
He shows him Martin Luther King speeches.
Fucking sucks.
It's real bad, people.
Yeah.
Real bad.
What you have anything else you want to talk about? I mean, the end is chaos.
I mean, the ending has so much shit going on at the end. It's an absurdity, man. I mean, I don't want to say it was a chore to watch this because it was still fun to see something I'd never seen in Street Fighter I'd never seen, but it was kind of a chore.
It never felt like a chore to me, but I mean, it's a bad movie.
Yeah, it's better said. Yeah, I mean, a chore is Home Alone 3. That's just
none of it connects. Like none of it makes sense. Like I watch bad movies, and like I just want the dots to be connected. You know, right. That's all. Just tell me a story that I can follow.
Savage Streets.
Honestly, Savage Streets is easy to follow.
I wasn't being sarcastic.
Yeah. But fucking Street Fighter, it's like no bueno, man. And then at the end of the movie, all the characters like come out and they do a pose like the video game. It's like the only thing that looks like the video game in the entire fucking movie. It looks like trash. And and then like Ryu and Ken say that they're gonna like, what is it? Like Guile or whatever is like, "So what are you going to do now in the country?" And they're like, "I guess we're gonna stay behind and help rebuild."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
right.
What are you talking about? You're just like two dudes. Like, what are you going to go work for Habitat for Humanity?
They're going to go work for UNICEF.
They make it act like it's like, all right, well, the rebuilding starts tomorrow. Me and Ken, we're just going to take care of that shit.
Brick by brick. Yeah, I know. It's a train wreck. Made a lot of money, critical failure, and a franchise podcast failure. 1 star.
Me too. Dedication to Raul Julia at the end. Vaya con Dios.
That was sweet.
It's great. I'm sure he appreciated it.
Oh, God.
Do you think Raul Julia's kids went to go see that movie and during that moment reflected on all the lost time they missed when Raul was on the set of this piece of shit?
I'm surprised they didn't pay to get that taken off from the DVD releases, man. Just put it on something better. I don't know. He must have been working on a TV episode or something.
Adam's Family Values, man. It was right before this.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
All right, so Vaya con Dios, Raul. Who's the MVP?
It's a tag team because it's Street Fighter. It's Ken and Ryu. It's the MVPs, which I think is totally fair to put them together.
I'm going to go with Ming-Na Wen. You know, adding a little class to this fucking thing. She tried to have some character fucking consistency, but it's just such a trash movie. Yes. And it's a little embarrassing at the end when they made her, like, dress up like video game Chun-Li. Like
Yeah.
oh, now we're gonna make you look sexy. Are you excited?
Right.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
She's great though. Hey, superhero count. She was a regular on that Agents of Shield for
I did
the whole
notice that.
time.
I'm glad you brought it up. That is a
character
super-
Melinda May she played. They now use her in the comics.
I did see that. LVP, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
That's fair, man. I can't really.
He is so bad. I mean, he really is bad. I don't think maybe any actor could have made this watchable, but I think someone else might have been able to bring something to it. And he's just a vacuous, vacant person in this movie.
I don't know. I mean, he is. He's bad, but he's still Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'm going to give the LVP to...
Don't do it.
Who do you think?
do it.
I'm not going to give it to Julia. I was thinking of giving him MVP. I'm going to give it to... what's his face? Blanca. He just looks like trash.
Okay. That's
I mean,
fair.
that is the way not to make that character on screen. It is so wild. It's like...
Well, yeah,
I mean,
they make
it
like
is
nice-
as crazy as Super Mario Brothers going like, all right, we're adapting this game. Who's your villain? Well, I got news for you. He is a vicious dinosaur creature. Okay, so what do you think? Dennis Hopper with weird hair?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Super Mario Bros., but I've seen enough of the trailers to think of that repeatedly through this movie. And I
Well,
was
it's
like, this is
another
just
one of these movies that is just not the game. Like anyone who's tuning into that film to see a Super Mario Brothers movie is going to be disappointed because like it's a Pierre Pasolini-esque hellscape, and
Yeah.
The same with like Sonic the Hedgehog. I just saw a couple months ago, and like the first 5 minutes, he's like running real fast and going around like spinning wheels and shit. And I'm like, I'm loving this movie. And then like the whole rest of the movie, he's just like hanging out with James Marsden in a car.
Yeah.
Like, really? You're putting this guy in a car? His whole thing is that he runs fast. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the first person with that opinion, but because it's so obvious. Like, you're watching the movie and Sonic's in a car, and you're like, it's literally opposite of what you want from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah. He's laying in a lazy boy. You're like, move, Sonic.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So who's your
We already did it, man.
your MVP? Oh, Ming, that one. Sorry. All right. So that's it.
Yeah.
Spider. It sucks.
Should we move on to the next one? All right, Legend of Chun-Li, Street Fighter. This is way later, bro.
Yes, 15 years elapse.
Yeah, they didn't make a sequel. It didn't do that great. The reviews were horrible. Everyone fucking hated the movie. There were like a bunch of like animated sequels after this, but we're gonna go ahead and ignore those babies.
Yeah.
They all went straight to video, and Josh Lemur, the prince that he is, told us specifically that we didn't have to cover them.
Beautiful man he is. Beautiful man.
Mm-hmm. So The Legend of Chun-Li, a film, mercifully, I was able to follow from beginning to end.
Let me tell you something right now, folks. This is a better movie.
You know, I wouldn't have said so before this conversation, but I feel that you're making a point. You know, Legend of Chun-Li reminded me a lot of Alien vs. Predator Requiem in a lot of ways. Not
Okay,
as
go
well made, but I think it's the kind of thing where you're just going to like put a bunch of pretty people somewhere and do a movie. And
This movie's not good, but it's fine.
they're fighting at least. No streets still, but listen, they got one half of it.
Look, man, this movie is fine. I was not what I was expecting.
This is a bad movie. Come on.
Sure. No. It is. But it's better than Street Fighter.
Not by that much.
It's a star.
No, it's still a 1.
I debated that. But it looks good.
It doesn't look good.
Yes, I disagree. It should look good because it's shot by fucking...
I know. All right, well, let's talk about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's written by a fellow named Justin Marks, who has gone on to do the Jon Favreau Jungle Book and the show Counterpart on Starz with J.K. Simmons. He's kind of an okay writer.
Okay.
This fella, Andrei Bartkowiak. Let's talk about him. Got to start as a DP. Was the cinematographer on some classic films. Let me go through them. The Verdict, Henry. Death Trap. Terms of Endearment. We covered it. Talk in Terms. He did that. Okay?
The City.
Speed. Falling Down. Species.
Yeah.
Dante's Peak, Devil's Advocate, U.S. Marshals, Lethal Weapon 4, Henry's favorite movie, 13 Days. All right.
And she didn't mention two other cool movies. I think you heard me say Prince of the City.
I said
you
it
haven't
too.
seen that, right?
Yes, I have. It's great.
Q&A.
I haven't
very
seen
cool
that.
movie. And another very good-looking movie. No, not The Mirror Has Two Faces. Oh, Pritzi's Honor. A lot of high-profile stuff for this guy.
All right, well, he was a big DP to the point where they kind of let him try to have a directing career. And in his case, it actually panned out. I've seen a lot of this guy's movies, and I have. And I appreciate Andrei Bartkowiak because he tends to direct very earnest, sincere, fun movies that know they're being silly. And I like that. So his first movie was Romeo Must Die, which is kind of not good. But then, Henry, I think one of his better films is The Great Exit Wounds with Steven Seagal and DMX. And he followed that up working with DMX again, combining the casts of his first two films, Henry, with DMX Jet Li team up.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of his movies except for this.
All right,
yeah.
Well, you're also going to want to stick around for the closing credits for all of his movies, Henry, because he likes to cast Anthony Anderson and Tom Arnold in his films, and he lets them ad-lib banter over the closing credits.
That sounds pretty bad. I don't think I'd enjoy myself.
Henry, it is something.
Okay. By the way, I think we should mention, because I know we'll hear about it if we don't. I turned it off immediately, Street Fighter, but apparently there was a stinger at the end of that movie.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I didn't either. Apparently Raul Julia comes back to life.
Oh,
he
no. I read that got cut out.
It's in the plot description. I don't know.
Oh, well, I don't know. It was I had read a trivia that was supposed to happen in the movie, and then they cut it out after Raul Julia died because it's weird to show a dead man coming back to life.
I think that's a good idea if they cut it out. Okay, we'll never know.
I guess not. So after his trilogy of Anthony Anderson, Tom Arnold films, he follows up with his absolute masterpiece, Henry, of course, Doom with The Rock. And ever since Street Fighter, it's kind of been downhill for him. I don't think he's making things that I would go see. You might.
I don't. None of those movies you mentioned he directed appeal to me in any way, shape, or form. So I don't know why I would.
What are you talking about? You'd like Exit Wounds.
I have no desire to see that. Like belated Steven Seagal bloated shit.
But it's also very urban. Because of DMX.
Yeah, I'll pass. Not my thing.
That's a good scene, man.
Yeah.
You want to be involved. All right, so
okay.
The Chunster comes out Feb 27, 09. I remember it being in theaters. There was a small part of my nerd brain saying, hey, Daniel, there's a Street Fighter movie in theaters out right now. Don't you want to see that? Hey, I know she's only half Asian, but that girl you used to jerk off to from Smallville is in it.
Superhero count.
Yeah. I had like from the ages of 15 to 16, Kristen Kruk was a major crush of mine.
Really?
Yeah.
I never heard of her in my life.
Oh, I was just scouring the internet.
Yeah.
You know, did her nipples show at a premiere? I had it on Kazaa.
On what?
That was like a fake Napster.
Okay.
You could download images.
You're really gross.
Listen, she was Lana Lang on Smallville, and Henry, I don't want to say anything bad about her sexuality because she did manage to escape the sex cult NXIVM before she was taken in by its founder, Keith Rainier.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Good for her. We have talked about Nexium on this show, right? You enlightened me because I had never known anything about it.
Well, Nexium ESP and their DOS program. You can find out about it on the HBO series The Vow. But I've been into it for years. So Allison Mack from Smallville was the co-founder of the DOS program, which was a program where women were slaves and they were branded with the initials of Keith Rainier and Allison Mack. Okay? Now, Allison Mack got her buddy Kristen Kruk, a.k.a. Lana Lang from Smallville, into Nexium, and there's a lot of pictures of her like hanging out at barbecues with like the founder, but right now, for reasons still shrouded in mystery, as of episode 4 of the HBO series, she did manage to get the fuck out of there.
So it's an HBO show now about it.
Yeah, you don't know about that?
What is it called again?
The Vow.
The Vow. I know. I did hear about it. I didn't know that's what that was about.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll be loving it. It's a weekly hour-long series about the Nexium sex cult.
Oh my god!
They have
pretty good.
So much footage.
Did they? Are you an executive producer on that documentary?
No, but I'd like to plug it. Sundays at 10 on HBO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sundays at 10.
Right after Lovecraft County, baby.
I have no interest in that.
Loving it.
You're watching it?
Love it.
Thought you don't watch anything new.
I'll watch a Jordan Peele thing.
That's him? Okay.
It's Jordan Peele and J.J. Abrams. It's joining forces, the unholy alliance.
Wow. It just didn't appeal to me. Once I hear Lovecraft, I get antsy.
Lovecraft rules. I mean, not the guy, but
yeah, I was just gonna say, don't ever say that again. He didn't think you ruled.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I mean, he's got fantastic, amazing, cool ideas, but a whole show based. I don't know. It didn't seem appealing to me.
Yeah, but it's like confronting the racism of it all, and it takes place in like, the 50s South or whatever, and there's cool Lovecraft shit in it.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Are there monsters?
Yeah.
I'm only interested if there's monsters.
There's monsters in the first episode.
All right, maybe I'll check it out.
Thanks, bro. You'll like it.
No, thank you.
It's got the lead is that guy from The Five Bloods who played Delroy Lindo's son.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Lovecraft County, Wreck from Dan.
Lovecraft Country?
Lovecraft County Country.
I don't know if there's an R in there.
And The Vow.
The Vow, yeah. Big wreck. While I'm at it, Love Fraud on Showtime. That's a big wreck.
Don't have Showtime, but thank you very much.
People listen to this show, Henry. I'm not only talking to you.
It felt like at that moment that you were addressing me.
Well, I think that's what makes me a good podcaster is everybody thinks that I'm talking to them directly.
That's true.
I really build a connection with my audience.
You do. Yeah,
Josh Lemer? Josh, I love you.
I don't know if are you there? Is he there?
No, he's not there. You see, but you thought he was because I was speaking to him directly.
I totally thought he was like in your room with the ice cream and the dog. Yeah.
The ice cream and the dog are both not in the room anymore.
Oh, boy, that dog just comes and goes as he pleases.
Yeah,
huh?
I let him hang out.
Yeah. I put him in a car. We run around together.
I don't have a car.
Like Sonic. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, this movie, a budget of $18 million, Henry.
Yeah.
And a box office of 12.8.
Jeez.
A box office bomb. It came in at number 148 at the American box office, made slightly less than Tom Ford's A Single Man, and slightly more than Nia Vardalos. Do you remember she attempted a comeback around this time?
Sure, I do.
She released 2 movies. One was called I Hate Valentine's Day, and the other one was this movie called My Life in Ruins.
That sounds great stuff.
And then she did Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, and then when even no one cared about that, Hollywood was like, girl, I think you gotta bow out.
I mean, the only thing I like her in is her appearances, I believe, as Larry David's lawyer in Curb.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember when they made a TV show of My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And it only lasted like a few episodes?
Well,
and they recast her husband?
Well, who was the husband, Tom Arnold?
Well, it was John Corbett in the movie.
Right. No, I know that. Oh, you're saying... Well, I didn't... I assumed that the movie characters did.
No, most of the characters joined the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But they recast the husband. Hang on, I'm looking it up.
I never saw that movie, nor will I ever.
They recast... The new husband was Stephen Eckholt, Henry. And you'll remember him as Mark, the guy that Ross was really jealous of during the whole break situation on Friends.
Oh, thanks for clarifying.
Do you remember on Friends when Rachel got that job working with Mark?
Yeah, that was the retail thing she had to do.
I mean, it might have been in Bloomingdale's, but they were like working in an office.
You impressed?
What, that you knew it was retail?
No, I mean that I just said retail randomly, and I was pretty much close to it.
Well, I mean, like she was a barista before that. I mean, the next move is...
I don't know.
What are you talking? You know that she was a barista. Central Perk.
I don't know anything about Friends.
You don't remember Gunther?
I don't know anything about that show, man.
It was in the zeitgeist. It was the biggest show in the world for a decade of your life.
Not my zeitgeist, man.
Come on, but can I name a couple of Friends things and you tell me if it rings a bell?
All right. Oh God, what I go through for you guys and gals.
All right, Henry. We were on a break.
No.
That doesn't. What is happening?
He's falling into the map of Allied Nation world. Go ahead. Got another one?
Yeah. Could I be wearing any more clothes?
No.
How about this? I, Ross, take thee, Emily. No, wait. I fucked it up. I, Ross, take thee, Rachel.
Rachel getting married?
Yeah, I'm referencing that Jonathan Demme movie.
Great movie.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be wild if Rachel from Friends married Tunde Adebimpe from TV on the Radio?
I just saw him in something, that actor.
He's not an actor.
What is he?
He's the lead singer from TV on the Radio.
Oh, right. But I saw him in another movie recently, and I don't remember what it was.
Okay, I'm looking him up on IMDb.
Yeah, please do, because I
he was in Spider-Man Homecoming.
No.
Oh, I know. He was on one episode of Perry Mason, and he was in She Dies Tomorrow. Did you watch that?
Yeah, what She Dies Tomorrow?
I don't fucking know. Probably a mediocre horror movie you watched.
No, I didn't watch that. Yeah,
he also showed up in Marriage Story. Hey, he's got a lot of acting work, this fucking guy.
I know he does. That's why I called him an actor, and that's not...
I guess he is an actor now.
That's not what I saw him in, but that's okay. We can move on. You're not helping me out. Letterboxd is better than IMDb for that kind of thing, by the way.
Great. So let's talk about the film, Henry. This is The Legend of Chun-Li, so let's talk about her legend. They've cast Dutch actor Kristen Kruk to play this Chinese girl, Chun-Li. And she is a concert pianist.
By the way, it was She Dies Tomorrow.
Yeah, I figured.
It's a good movie, 3 stars. Yeah.
It's 2, that means. Anytime Henry gives you any grade for a new movie, deflate it by 1 star, and that's the actual grade.
Yeah, no, it's directed by my girlfriend Amy Seimetz, who wisely left Shane Carruth, who was an abusive prick, I found out.
Who's that?
Writer-director of Upstream Color and Primer.
I didn't see any of those.
You saw fucking... You, me, and Nathaniel had a whole conversation about
No, you and fucking Nathaniel had a conversation about Primer for an hour and a half while I sat there.
Well, it was fun. Nathaniel, I want to talk about smart stuff with you again. Anyway, it was a good movie.
Can we talk about Friends more?
No, let's go to...
I hope Josh Leamer likes Friends. Wait, he does. Didn't he pay for the Friends Seinfeld Order Up?
Might have. Everybody
might have
likes
been
Friends.
him.
Everybody likes Friends.
That's
okay?
not true. There's always going to be contrarians like you. So we have Chun-Li. She's a pianist.
She is a pianist.
And
I got to hear some nice music in this movie.
Yeah,
that was nice.
That's right. She grows up. Her father is kidnapped by Bison.
Yes.
We meet our new Bison. He's Neil McDonough. Now, is Neil McDonough Irish in real life?
I think Irish, yeah.
Because
he's
he plays the same thing in everything, just like
does.
a sociopathic killer.
Yeah. He's got that look. He's got those crazy eyes.
Yeah,
and shit.
he's good at making it look like he's not feeling any emotions.
He is. But I thought it was initially, right off the bat, I thought it was a very strange idea to make him this Bison.
No, I mean, it makes sense. It's just that he's not really a big name.
Well, no. I didn't mean that. I meant to carry over the character of Bison at all.
He's the main villain.
I know, but like
this is a reboot, dude. I don't think this is supposed to take place in the same continuity as the first one.
No. I don't think it is either. But it was just maybe it's because I watched them, one after the other, and I just had this image of Bison being this super bizarre guy in a cape, and now he's just kind of like a normal businessman.
Yeah,
so
I love that this movie, watched that movie, and they were like, the one fantastical aspect of that movie, let's make that boring in this one.
I didn't think it was boring.
No, it was fine. Look, Neil McDonough is really good. And, I mean, the platonic ideal of this character that he's playing is during season 3 of Justified as Quarles. But he is fun in this, and I didn't know he had an Irish accent in real life. And so it's weird. He's doing, like, a character I'm really familiar with him doing, but he's just, like, now, like, he's got this weird, like, jovial energy due to his Irish accent. So he's like, Hey, everybody, I'm Bison. Don't worry, Chun-Li. I'm not going to kill you, Dad.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get him to find the white rose for me.
I'm very charming. I'll take your dad. I'll take your da, and I'll make him wipe out humanity. I'm going to let you live so that 20 years later you can come back and try to kill me. I thought there'd be at least a line about that when they let her go, and I really thought he was going to do that thing where like a villain look like in Kill Bill when Uma Thurman says it to what's her name's kid?
Vernita Green.
Vivica Fox, yeah, and just like someday you'll seek revenge on me. And I thought he'd look at her and be like, you'll have your revenge one day, little one. But he didn't say anything, and then she does, and then it was kind of nothing. This Kristen.
Also, her dad's not even dead.
No, I know it's strange. I wasn't thinking Kristen Kriuk.
Christian Kruk, I don't know. She's a TV actor.
No, Chun-Li. The one, the Nexium person.
Yeah, what about her?
Yeah, I'm asking how to say her name.
I don't know, Crook. She's a TV actor. What do you want from me?
You were in love with her. I thought you know how to say her fucking name.
No, I just knew what her boobs looked like. I just wanted to make out with her. I would just sit around daydreaming about possibly kissing her someday.
I felt that way about Kate Winslet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's much of a better woman.
Kristen Crook, I thought she wasn't that great as a powerful, some sort of lead here. I didn't really get it, but...
well, here's the thing about her. Here's something that you're really going to have to confront.
Okay.
She cannot act.
I
She's
did confront
never been able to.
Well, I confronted it, yeah.
You know,
sure.
she's very sweet. She seems like a nice person. That carries over on the screen, and I think that is why she's able to have a career, because she's very beautiful and she just seems nice.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, that's really all there is to her. Like, you're
Yeah.
not going to get a three-dimensional performance out of this.
That's what it was-
She's reading dialogue.
Yeah, it was a little odd to me that she would get a leading role. I know it's not a massive movie, but it's certainly going to try to be. It's on some level, and
They had $18 million. Smallville ended earlier, this year, I guess.
okay,
Or she left it. I think she left it right before, like a season or two before it ended. But
yeah,
I just think they gave her a shot and it didn't pan out. And after this movie, she went back to TV.
yeah, because
She was on that Beauty and the Beast show forever.
Okay, yeah. Which role did she play?
Gaston.
She was is that the teacup?
No, that's Chip.
The boiler.
No, Gaston was like the villain.
Kristen Crook as the teacup saucer. Kristen Crook in Beauty and the Beast as the oven plate. She'd be a good oven mitten.
I like to put my hand in that mitten, baby.
Warm in the Nexium cult.
Holy shit, dude. Yeah, she needs to do an EM for that. So, Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li. I mean, what do you want to talk about?
You know, her dad is kidnapped in order to by Bison to develop. What is he doing? He's developing something for Bison to. So he's like buying up land, and this guy essentially he's using him to like blackmail people and his computer smarts, I guess, to like just keep him employed. And the only reason he's keeping him alive is to do that work. And because he knows he'll do it if he promises him he'll see his daughter someday.
Right, and the daughter is a really weird storyline, which is told about in a bizarre flashback where they say that as a young man, Bison got a girl pregnant, and
Yes.
then he felt that the goodness in him was a sickness, and so he was able to somehow manifest his goodness into like a bolt of lightning, and he sent it up his baby mama's pussy and implanted his goodness into his baby so that she's all good, he's all bad, and then eventually in life that baby is going to be his only weakness because she's his goodness, which doesn't make sense. Like, I just don't understand. So
wouldn't
anyway,
wouldn't you just complete the abortion process?
100%, 100%.
Yeah, 'cause-
Well,
yeah, but I will say-
the one thing about Bison you have to understand is life begins at conception in Bisonopolis. All right?
He's a Republican for sure. He's a venture capitalist. He does perform an extraordinary C-section that I've never seen in a movie. He essentially just, what does he just clasp his hands
Yeah,
together
it's sort of
around
a
the woman's-
telekinetic C-section.
Yeah, and he just explodes his wife.
TK
and-
section.
Yeah, and then it's a TKC section, and he explodes his wife and holds the baby, and then he goes off to be a bad guy.
Hey, what's up with this daughter? Because she shows up near the end of the movie as like a character, and I'm watching this actress, and I'm like, it is wild how bad this performance is, and I looked up.
Too much. I mean,
Well, I looked up the actor, and it's like this is her only credit, and she has this like super Eastern European name, and I'm wondering if like she didn't even speak English.
it's probably like Andres Barkoviak's like grandniece or something.
Why would this person like? It is one of the like she's not given a lot to do, Henry. But I implore you to go back. You're not going to do this, but I implore anyone who watches this movie to really pay attention to her performance. You have never seen an actor in a major motion picture she's not reacting to anything.
No, she isn't. She isn't. Her dad dies in front of her. She has no reaction. Her dad finds her. She has no reaction. She's in a vent, like a box, as a captive.
She's not listening to the other people's dialogue. She's just standing there.
Maybe it's a language barrier.
I don't understand it. It's a really weird performance. And there's a few of those in this movie. What's up?
I said that there is, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the best performance in the movie. Obviously, Chris Klein. He is playing Charlie Nash.
That's right.
And he is a cop, or he works for Interpol, right?
Interpol.
He loves pulling out that badge, going like, Charlie Nash, Interpol, get it locked and loaded, on the way, baby.
That's how he talks, man, and it's without irony. And it is dead hardcore sincere, and it's great.
So we first meet him. He sees Moon Bloodgood.
Yes.
Who you'll, of course, remember from the ABC show Daybreak that got canceled after 13 episodes.
That is what I remember her for.
You might also remember her, Henry, from her great TNT show Falling Skies.
I was going to cite that second. And thirdly, I was going to cite, was she not in The Wolverine or Wolverine Origins?
Yeah, probably.
I think we talked about her then. I'm pretty sure she was in one of those.
Yeah, maybe she's like...
I think it's his wife when he gets
what's
married.
What's her name?
I don't know. Pup?
Pup?
Yeah, Wolverine Pup.
Oh, I get it. Okay, so Charlie Nash he sees Moon Bloodgood. She's looking fine, so he says, I love this job. That was my favorite moment of the movie, and it gets a call back at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't even know how to talk about the performance, because I couldn't make heads or tails of it the entire movie. He has a big role, Chris Klein.
Yeah, he does.
I think I'm coming to it from a different perspective, because I watched his performance on The Flash.
Okay.
Where he played a villain, and he's giving such a similar performance in that.
Mm-hmm.
And it might just be because he's like, well, let me get back into like comic book mode or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also think like something happened to this guy. He's not
Really?
right.
Really?
He's too big. I don't know. I think my theory is Chris Klein did steroids. He was already stupid. He made his brain jelly, and now he can't act anymore.
Well, that's interesting.
Did you ever hear the audition video he did? I forget what movie it was for, but there was like, he auditioned for like Mamma Mia or something.
Okay.
And he's singing in it, and it is one of the craziest auditions. And then he has this awkward moment at the end where he tells the directors that they should hire Mandy Moore as the female lead.
Really?
Yes, because he worked with her in American Dreams, and she was a sweetheart.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, you mentioned his bigness, but I thought in this one he isn't big. He looks like someone who got drained of all muscle, so you could have something there. I mean, he could be post-steroidal use. Personally, I think he might have never gotten over Katie Holmes leaving him for Cruiser.
Katie Holmes left Chris Klein for Tom Cruise?
I recall that, yeah.
God, Chris. Yeah, but at a certain point in life, don't you look back and you're like, I fucked Katie Holmes. Right on.
Of course, you should be happy. It should be happy. It didn't work out. She broke out of the cult, so, by the way, lest I be corrected, Moon Bloodgood we covered when we did Terminator Salvation. That's where we know the
No wonder
Moonster.
It's so unmemorable.
The Moonster. Yeah, one of the better Terminator movies. Anyway.
Horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, is that just a break in the air, or what are we doing? Are we talking?
I was going to let you go, I don't need to be talking at all times.
You usually do. No, we were... all right, so Chun-Li, she goes to Hong Kong basically to seek revenge. No, she goes to Bangkok. Jesus Christ, I can't keep it straight. She moved to Hong Kong when she was a kid. Her dad gets abducted. She goes to Bangkok, where she's seeking out someone named Gen.
Oh, that's right.
It's crossover franchise time.
That's right. It's Robin Shu, a.k.a. Liu Kang, baby.
Liu Kang.
Yeah, showing up in both of these franchises. And I read that he's in the Dead or Alive movie too, which is another fighting game movie.
Okay. His acting didn't get much better.
It's very similar. It's funny to see a guy like giving the exact same performance in a movie like 25 years later.
I mean, it's
or 15 years later.
15 years later, but yeah, he really hasn't.
It's like he's got a little bit of white hair now, and he's still talking like Liu Kang.
Yeah, he's just kind of, it's always difficult. I've talked about it before when you're speaking in like Far Eastern platitudes of pseudo Confucianism, Zen-like bullshit, where it's not really wisdom, and they try to make it wisdom.
Yeah, but there's guys who can pull this off. There's hundreds of guys. That's all fucking Pat Morita's doing in The Karate Kid. That's all the fucking sword maker is doing in Kill Bill. Like,
in superhero movies, the Marvel movies pull that shit off.
Tilda Swinton in Doctor Strange.
Yeah. And Batman has it too, like Ra's al Ghul kind of pulls it off.
Yeah, you can do your Liam Neeson again.
You will never be one unless you get rid of the anger, Bruce.
It's getting worse.
You think you know the ice.
I put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. Listen, I got one. You do not control the sword. The sword controls you. Yeah, you fucked me up. All right, whatever.
Oh, he seems mad.
I really did. I had a good impression down there, and it left me for a few minutes.
So anyway, he's fine. He's doing that, and he's training her. And at one point, he's like practicing a Hadouken, and I'm like,
the ball.
Yeah, I'm like, are we gonna get a fucking Hadouken in this movie? And I'm like, well, they got to bring in Ryu and Ken because like Chun-Li doesn't do a Hadouken, but then at the end of the movie, Chun-Li does it, but she doesn't fucking say Hadouken.
Maybe that is copyrighted.
But it's the one thing you want to hear. I mean, it's wild, dude. It's like going to see a fucking Semisonic concert. They don't play closing time.
That would be,
I've sat through 2 goddamn Street Fighter movies. I can't hear one fucking actor say Hadouken.
I know. I'm sorry for you. I feel bad. It's a rough going. Not as rough going as watching Michael Clark Duncan, though.
Why? I thought he was good in this. He's playing Balrog. Look, he took too many of these roles as the big dumb bodyguard because Michael Clark Duncan can actually act. So, it's a total waste of Michael Clark Duncan except for his size or whatever. But, he's in this. He has the credit. Good for him.
I don't know. He's like... I like him in The Green Mile. I don't know if... I hated him in Daredevil.
Yeah, he's not well cast in that movie.
He's just not good. I mean, I don't know. I mean... He doesn't have to do too much here. He's a good henchman, but
I actually really liked the scene where he's hanging out with Bison, and there's that henchman who like Chun-Li fights in a nightclub at one point.
Yeah.
And Bison and Michael Clark Duncan, they like beat her to death.
Yeah, that was
they
cool.
Just hang her from a ceiling, and it's a woman, and they just show her beaten to death. It's fucked up.
Yeah. That was actually a neat little twist, though, too, because the woman is like one of their main.
Yeah, she seems like she's going to be important.
And then they go to the club, and all of a sudden she's like a lesbian.
Yeah, well, we cast a Dutch woman to play the Chinese character Chun-Li, so certainly the only actual Chinese woman in the cast. Let's just beat her to death.
Death. Wait, so Kristen Crook is not in any way.
I think she's half.
Okay.
Yeah, but she just doesn't look Asian.
I thought she looked Asian. I didn't. I thought she was Asian.
Really?
I didn't know, man. I don't know anything about her. I thought, that's an Asian woman.
I don't know. She doesn't look Asian to me.
Does she look Irish?
I don't know. She's all things.
God, this guy's you really like you got a thing for the.
I mean,
crook.
not anymore. It's like left over from like I loved her like in the early days of the internet when I was like first like really when I was first starting to jerk off.
You know, you can always feel free to not share.
But it's like there's different levels of crushes. Like I had a crush on Sarah Michelle Gellar. That was like pre even touching my dick, dude. So like I'm just trying to like place you in the mindset of a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah, you don't have
stroking his boner.
don't have to do any of that. No, that's not necessary.
Why not? What?
It's not necessary. But thank you, appreciate it. It's good. Thank you.
Kazaa.
What is that now?
LimeWire.
This is just words.
Uh-huh.
Are these more Friends references?
Kazaa. LimeWire. Gunther. All right.
Yeah.
So
What happened?
so I like that sequence in the nightclub kind of. It's stupid, but it's kind of fun.
It's cool. They have a good fight. The fights in this movie are well choreographed.
They're definitely better than the previous one. Well, Barkoviak's pretty good with that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. This movie is not a good movie, but it's miles above the other one, I think.
I don't think so.
It really is. I mean, it was very watchable. It's extremely stupid, but the fights are good. You know, you get to hear some Chopin.
The cast is a problem, dude.
Sure. But I liked what's his face as Bison. He's all right.
Yeah, he's all right, and Michael Clark Duncan's all right, but like no one else is all right.
Klein is very entertaining. Whatever he's going for, if he's not going for anything,
It is entertaining.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, I couldn't believe my eyes and my ears when he was doing what he was doing.
It's fucking wild, dude.
It is wild. I mean, and you're right to compare it to in a way to Nick Cage. Albeit either an unself-conscious Nick Cage or a self-conscious. I don't know, but it's worth a glimpse because
Yeah.
you have.
Here's a Charlie monologue that I'm gonna deliver.
Okay.
Here he's talking about Bison. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
His name's Bison. I've tracked him through 11. He emphasizes so much. 11 major cities. On 4 continents and never come close. Not once. This guy walks through the raindrops.
That was a great line right there.
Anybody that's against him is either dead or on their way.
Yeah, man.
All right?
Yeah. Hearing Chris Klein say this guy walks
Nash
through
out.
rocks. Yeah. Oh, you're out? He's out now?
He says that a lot. Nash out.
Yeah. When hearing Klein say that line, walks through the raindrops, was something I never really thought I'd hear. You know?
Yeah, I would like to see Chris Klein in like a remake of All the President's Men. See how that goes?
I'd like to see him at a poetry reading of Wordsworth.
Yeah, I'd love that would be dynamite to hear like I would love to hear like an audio book of Chris Klein reciting Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. He's got a real lightness of touch. Oh, Henry. By the way, that nightclub scene, did you happen to notice the rap song? There was like they're in a strip club at one point.
Yeah. I did notice the rap song, but I don't know if I remember what it was.
No, there was a song. I looked up who it is. It's by a rapper I've never heard of named Ace Hood, and he has like 3 or 4 songs on the soundtrack. And during that scene, the song is like, "Yo, Street Fighter, yeah."
Yeah, that's right. I did take note. Yeah, we were in that world. In that world, you know.
We were.
So, yeah.
But I don't know why they couldn't get like any rapper that anyone's heard of. Here's one thing. I want to say something. One character that returns in this movie is Vega.
Yes.
All right, and I'm like, who's this guy with the weird head? And then I realized who it is. It is Taboo from the
Taboo.
Black Eyed Peas, Henry.
Taboo. Yeah.
And he's the tall, light-skinned, weirdest looking one. And now I'm thinking, we're halfway there. We're halfway home, Henry.
Yeah.
We have now covered movies with 2 members of the Black Eyed Peas. You'll recall that Will.i.am is some sort of a teleporting mutant in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
You're right. That's absolutely right.
Vanisher, maybe?
So who's left?
So we need Apple Diap.
Okay.
Of course, Apple Diap. We have to see him in a film.
Okay. All
Stat.
right.
And Fergie, you know, hopefully she can hold her bladder long enough to film a role in a movie.
Have we never covered? Fergie's never been in anything.
I mean, maybe a song.
I could have sworn we talked about.
But my question is, how is there not a Black Eyed Peas song on this fucking soundtrack?
Oh, there should be, man.
Do you think there's any universe where a conversation happened where Taboo had to go to Will.i.am and say, hey, I'm in this movie, can we put a Black Eyed Peas song in it? And Will.i.am saying, no, that movie looks stupid, I think it's bad for our brand.
I'm on the set of X-Men's Wolverine Origins.
Yeah. And then yeah, right, exactly. And then Taboo was like, hey, listen, Will.i.am, as you once said, where's the love?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can. Oh, because he wrote that Yes, I Can song. That's right.
We can.
Yeah. Mazel tov. Remember that song?
No.
Tonight's the night. Mazel tov.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I got a feeling.
Yeah, I know.
Tonight's gonna be a good night.
Don't. Oh, God.
My dad likes that song.
I feel like every bar we go in, that would fucking come on, wouldn't it?
Well, we were going out to a lot of bars in that year when that song was huge, dude. It was like the song of summer that year.
My God. Awful shit.
I know, bro. It was everywhere.
Like Stephen Sousa's semen.
God. Do you remember when Fergie peed herself on stage?
I don't.
That's another thing I think about once a month.
I thought you were just making like an old joke. Like
no. There you could find pictures. Fergie peed herself in the middle of a concert and just like performed the rest of the concert with like wet pants.
Thing. That's a trooper right there. That's a trooper.
What an entertainer.
Pens, am I right? Yeah, I knew that'd get him.
That's pretty good, bro. Anything else you want to talk about with this movie?
You know, not really. I mean, who else? We mentioned all the main characters, right?
I mean, I guess so. Did we miss anybody?
I think we got. I'll look through here. No, we really did. We got everybody. Michael Clark Duncan, Moon, Bloodgood, Klein, McDonough, Crook, Shu. Yeah, we
truly nailed it.
Yeah, we really did.
And then at the end, they're like, he's like, oh, I'm hearing great things about a great warrior named Ryu. Let's bring him into the sequel.
And that's the point in the theater, right, where all 2 people went like, yeah!
But this, you know what? We have changed this over time. I feel that now we want people to get into a franchise. So, like, we're going to put the good shit in the first movie.
You're absolutely right.
There's none of this shit. There was so much of that in the 2000s where movies would end with, like, hey, here's something to get excited about, and then there would never be another movie.
Yeah.
I feel like every Terminator movie ends that way.
Yeah, well, they all do. Because they never know how the next one's going to go. But the great ones that are unforgettable, one of the most unforgettable ones is, I can't believe I'm bringing this up in the Street Fighter 2, the Legend of Chun-Li. But like at the end of Batman Begins, you know, when they show the Joker card. I mean,
yeah, but they actually did that sequel.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like they show that everybody in my theater like was like, yeah, you know, it was fucking great.
Yeah, but like, I mean, there's so many like that's the platonic ideal, I guess, of that. But there's so many half-assed ones. Like even when we covered the Lady Ghostbusters, Henry, and at the end of that movie, they're like, I'm getting readings. It seems to be saying Zool.
Right.
And you're like, what the fuck? Like, what is the audience of that movie gonna be like, oh my fucking god, they're gonna do Zool in the sequel?
Yeah, I think there's an overestimation of certain iconic villains that people don't care. With Zool was that was a one-off. It was great because the original movie was great. I don't.
Yeah, no one's like a fan of the Ghostbusters franchise because of Zool.
It's a great name for a demon. That's it.
It is.
Yeah, Zool.
What you're giving this a 2?
I'm going to. Because I think it's entertaining, and it's a step up from the first one, which was pretty shabby.
I'm gonna give it a 1.
You know?
I'm trying to get there with this 2 situation, but I can't.
Okay, fair enough. I get it.
Who's your MVP?
Chris Klein.
Listen, it's a hard thing. Because this actually occurred to me. Like,
much about it.
What?
You're thinking too much about it, about Klein's performance.
Well, it's like when we're talking about most valuable player, sometimes I think about it like who did I like the most, but sometimes I think about who the most valuable player is. Because like there are like if we're actually talking about technically acting, Chris Klein's horrible in this movie. Sure. But he is the most entertaining thing here, and he kind of carries you through. Like, even when the movie has, like, boring patches, Chris Klein's at least there with his, like, ridiculous line readings to, like, carry you along. And so I think he has to be the MVP. I was going to give it to Neil McDonough, but...
Well, he would be if you're going the route you said. I mean, he's the clear winner. But, you know, Chris Klein is just an unexpected treasure. Yeah. And I say that as someone who's, you know, besides Election, have not really liked him in anything he's ever done. So, yeah.
Well, I like him in many of his early films, like Say It Isn't So, Henry.
Right.
and what else was there?
American Pie.
Yeah, I know. But, like, after American Pie and Election, he had a little career for a while. What were his movies?
Shadows and Fog.
What?
Raging Bull.
No, seriously. Why can't I think of anything other than Say It Isn't So?
I don't remember that one.
I just looked up Chris Pine by mistake.
A much better actor. I like Chris Pine.
Yeah, he was boning his sister. That was an incest comedy. That's why I saw it. Here on Earth, Henry. Of course, I saw that. Lily Sobieski was dying.
Yeah, Lily Sobieski.
By the way, the Kristen Crook years. There was a lot of Lily Sobieski happening too.
I understand that.
Oh, Rollerball, Henry.
Oh, that was big.
Yeah,
flop.
Yeah, I saw that. Right, he showed up in Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds in a fat suit. Oh. American Dreams. What a career Chris Klein had for a while there.
Yeah,
and it's not going as well these days.
No.
Oh, he was in Sweet Magnolias recently, a Netflix show that got canceled.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Well, he's still living.
He's still working. Listen, he was plucked out of obscurity. It's amazing that this guy still has a career. 20 years going now, not an ounce of talent, and he's still out there doing it.
Hey, man. He, Raul Julia is dead. Michael Clark Duncan is dead. Chris Klein
still powering through.
Not dead.
You're like Trump. Dead losers. Chris Klein is a winner. He has survived.
He's alive.
All right. What a fun time, Henry. I loved this.
Great time.
Yeah.
Really good time. Thank you, Mr. Lemur.
The best. All right. You rank these 2-1? I guess I do too.
I think you have to, man. I mean, come on.
It's definitely like that first movie is professionally made in some ways, but it's a slog. It just kind of sucks. It's like a dud.
It's a big dud.
Yeah, and this movie at least is like silly. It's a silly Billy.
Yeah, it's a silly Billy.
Listen, if you're drunk one night, like I remember one night being very high on cocaine and putting on that Catwoman movie with Halle Berry and having the time of my life watching it. And
Sure.
I recommend, like, I can see that happening with this movie. If you're ever, like, doing coke or, like,
Yeah.
drinking a lot, or, like, you're post-coitus and you're kind of tired, like,
Yeah.
put on Legend of Chun-Li. I wish,
Totally.
if there's a YouTube supercut of just the Chris Klein scenes, watch that.
Well, now you're talking.
Yeah.